we're gonna do a Q&A on astrology, a passion of mine, and I love talking about it, and I love reading birth charts and like dissecting people because I'm always open to your suggestions. Okay, so we're just gonna go ahead and get started. How did you get into astrology? I've always been into astrology in the sense of like I've always read my horoscope. I remember being like 7 years old, reading Teen Bop at the back of it, looking up my horoscope, and then I remember always going to like yahoo.com and reading Yahoo horoscopes and stuff. So I've always been into it that way. I actually didn't get really into it and start studying astrology until about 4 years ago. But I would say overall, I've always been very woo-woo. I've always been very intuitive, and I've always been very attracted to the moon. Like if I'm driving and the moon is like really pretty, I'm like I can never like not look at the moon. I've taken so many pictures of the moon. I've always just been really drawn to it. So it is something that I feel like it's always called my name, and it's always been a part of my life, but it's been a major part of my life in the last 4 or 5 years. Next question. Let's see. So how is one horoscope accurate for an entire sign? It's not. So most people only know about their sun sign. Your sun sign is basically just where the sun was at the time that you were born, but to pay attention to where all of your planet placings were. Basically, horoscopes are just like a fun way to talk about sun signs and astrology, but it's a very playful thing. It's a real astrologer would never tell someone their horoscope based on just their sun sign. There's so much more to it. You have to know the person's birth chart to give an accurate horoscope. And that's essentially what a birth chart is. It's like it tells you all of your planet placings, and then you could actually compare your planet placings at the moment you were born to the transits that are happening today in the sky and be given a horoscope, because it can be done that way, but you have to have astrology software and you have to know how to read birth charts. But generally speaking, it is impossible to have every single sign have the same horoscope. So what is a birth chart? Well, a birth chart is basically, the way I like to explain it is it's like the instruction manual to your life. Birth chart is basically like a snapshot of the sky at the very moment you were born, based on the time you were born, the day you were born, and the location that you were born at. Basically, it's like a snapshot of where all the planets were in orbit at the time that you were born. And each planet represents something specific. For instance, Mercury represents communication, and the moon represents your emotions, and Venus represents like love and materialistic things and so forth. So each planet represents something. The very moment you popped out, that moment you were destined to be here. That was the day and time that you were supposed to be in this world, and therefore that moment is extremely important because it takes the rest of your life. So in a birth chart, it's going to pull all the information. It's going to tell you what zodiac signs the planets were in at the moment you were born. It is the most useful tool that you can use to get to know yourself. It is like all about self-awareness, and it's about communication. It's about learning how you interact with people or how you want to be treated, stuff like that. Like, I like to think of it in a way as a personality test or a personality report, and it's extremely accurate if you run it correctly. But it is important that you get the exact birth time. You can't guess, because the planets orbit at different rates. So if you mess up by an hour, 2-3 hours, the planets are going to be in a different sign by then, so you would be getting inaccurate information. Anytime I run reports for people, I ask for either a photo of their birth certificate, or I ask that they at least verify with their mom that that was the exact time they were born. So it really does make a big difference. Where do I get a birth chart ran? So I actually run birth charts. I have an astrology software, and it's legit. I pay like $800 for it, and I can run birth charts, relationship reports. So I can take your report, your significant other's report, and I can cross them, and it'll put out a report on like how you guys would interact, where you're gonna do really well, where you'll need to work on things, and all of that. And then I actually can do pet reports and children reports too, and they're pretty cool, but it's all based off of their birth time. So you can get it done professionally by someone with software like myself, or you can go to any astrology website really. If you type in free natal chart, it'll give you a free version of the chart, and then if you want more info, like of course they're gonna charge for it, but generally speaking, you can go to pretty much any astrology site, put your birth info in there, it'll tell you your planet placings, and some sites will even give you a little interpretation on each one so that you kind of understand what it means. The ones that I run, they're actually about 30 to 35 pages long, and they're very detailed. So sometimes they can be overwhelming if you're not too familiar with astrology, but at the same time, if you just read through it, you're going to be like, holy shit, this is so accurate, it's crazy. What apps and books do you recommend to learn astrology? I have them right here actually, because I was looking at them. But so Astrology Made Easy looks like this. And this one's really fun because it's just birth days, not birth years. So it'll tell you like if you were born on July 11th, what that means. And that is extremely accurate too. Pretty cool. I just can't believe that it's true. And then the little face. That's a personal thing. Like I'm not here to like convince you that it's true. It's just, it is. Like, I don't know. It's just something I believe so wholeheartedly. And I literally navigate through life using astrology. When I wake up in the morning, I check the reports to see what the transits look like for the day. I'm always looking at people's signs in order to learn how to communicate with them. I run birth charts on pretty much anybody that's close to me. I have their birth chart so that I can better understand them. Anytime I make a very important decision, I always consult an astrologer. So I genuinely use it every single day in my life. And I almost view astrology like some would view religion. I believe in it and I practice it daily. I personally don't believe in religion. Like, I don't necessarily believe in God and stuff like that. I think that it's crazy that I believe in the planet placings. I might think it's crazy that you believe in God. Like, it's just a difference in opinion and a difference in belief systems. And I think that if you're a mature adult, you should be able to respect other people's beliefs. Doesn't mean you have to believe it, but you should respect it. Like, just because I don't have the same beliefs as you might, I'm never going to disrespect your religion or make you feel crappy because of it. So I wouldn't joke around and be like, oh my God, why do you think that? How do you possibly think that? Like, just you stay in your lane and let me believe what I want to believe. But it's something that it is a belief system. Only if you start to get to know a little bit more about it will you be able to understand why people do believe in it. And at the same time, I think it's kind of silly because some people will believe in, for instance, like the weatherman. He predicts the weather, right? He does that by using the sky. Back in the old days, like, we used to tell time using the sun. So it's not anything new, and it's just, I don't know. I think that in the world that there are several ways that we can choose to believe in why we're here, our creation, how we're supposed to act, all of those things. There's just different ways of communicating to people. And the way that I receive it the most is through astrology. You might receive it through the Bible. It's just another way to understand our purpose here. So have an open mind about it, do some research. Doesn't mean you have to believe it or, anything like that, but it is good to just know. Why should I get my birth chart ran? Birth charts, obviously, like I mentioned, they're super, super important because they just give you all of the information that you're probably missing. It will tell you everything you can possibly think of. It tells you how you love, how you need to be loved, how you communicate, how you mother, how you problem solve. It teaches you all about your likes. Like, do you like the finer things in life, or are you going to be more of a simplistic person? Like, it's just basically the most in-depth personality report you can possibly ever get. So why wouldn't you want to know that, Does believing in astrology make you a witch? No, it doesn't make you a witch whatsoever. And again, not even Wicca, that's just another belief system. So like I always say, like, you don't have to agree with what anybody does, but you should definitely respect it. How does knowing the details for your kids help you to raise them better? I love the fact that I have ran children reports for both of my kids, because both of my kids are Sagittariuses, but they're very different kids. So the best way to know how to parent is to understand how that person needs to be communicated to. It's just like you do with an adult. So for instance, I'll give you an example. My son is a Sagittarius sun, a Scorpio moon, and a Capricorn rising. My daughter is a Sagittarius sun. She's a Aries moon and a Capricorn rising. So 2 out of those 3 signs are the same, but yet they're very different. Their moon signs, how they interact emotionally, how they love and need to be loved, is completely different. Having emotions like a Scorpio, it's almost completely opposite of having emotions like an Aries. My daughter is going to be a little bit more of a hard ass. She probably won't be as sensitive. You could probably have some fun with her, be sarcastic with her, and she's probably not gonna get too offended. You do that with my son, who's a Scorpio moon, a water sign, a more emotional sign. He might take it personal. He might get his feelings hurt. I basically use it to learn how to communicate with my kids. How do I approach them when I need something, or how do I love on them? My son, I can't yell at him because he gets his feelings hurt very easily. My daughter, I can raise my voice and she's like, okay, I get it. It's completely different, So the reports themselves will basically just tell you, again, like, it's very similar to, it's how you should deal with your children at that stage in their life, because dealing with a child is different than dealing with an adult, but the birth chart is always going to stay the same. So whatever their communication is in is going to be how you want to communicate with them. So if one of your kids has their Mercury in Leo and one has their Mercury in Cancer, you need to talk to both of those kids completely different. If your daughter has her Mercury in Leo, then you're going to be able to talk to her in front of people. Like if you need to have a conversation with her, you can do it in front of other people and it's not going to bother her, because Leos are very, look at me, I'm out here, I'm here to be seen. Whereas a Cancer, for instance, so if, let's say your son has his Mercury in Cancer, that means he communicates like a Cancer and that he needs to be talked to like a Cancer. Completely different. The Cancer sign is more of a private sign, so that's a conversation you'd want to have in private. Don't address things in public with the child that has their Mercury in Cancer. Cancers are very private people. They're very like internal. They're way more emotional. They take offense to things. They take things very personal, whereas a Leo isn't like that. So you have to know how to communicate to them. Even if you have two kids that were both born in the same month, you have to talk to them differently and you have to love on them differently. Some kids might need more of a physical touch. They might need you to hug them and love them and coddle them, whereas others are going to need you to kind of keep your distance and just give them logical advice. And you're going to find out how to do all of this through their birth charts. And it's just, seriously, it's helped me with parenting so much, because I can see, although my son is a boy, he's the more emotional one compared to my daughter, who is obviously a girl. So the reports are just really helpful. They just help you understand how to interact with your child. They're very, very beneficial though. You've mentioned the sun, moon, etc. signs that each person has. What do those each influence? So it's kind of lengthy, but I'll go into this in its own video. But basically generally speaking, the most common you're going to hear are your sun sign, your moon sign, and your rising or ascendant sign. So basically your sun sign is your personality, your general personality. It's your ego, it's your self-image. It's basically the overall of who you are. The sun, obviously, it's your self-image. It's basically the overall of who you are. The sun, obviously, like everything revolves around the sun, right? So that's why it's like the main one. And then your moon sign is all about your emotions. How do you act emotionally when there's something that goes wrong? How do you handle it? How do you need to be talked to? How do you need to be addressed emotionally? Like, it essentially just covers everything that has to do with your emotional well-being. And it also represents like your sensitivity and all of that. Your rising sign is how people view you. People who don't know you that well, how they view you. So how you come off. It's essentially like a mask you're wearing in public as a form of protection. So let's say you go to a job interview or you go to a party and you don't know them, you don't know people around you, you're going to act a little bit different than your natural personality would around people that you do know. So your rising sign is essentially just like people's first impressions of you. So you might be a Cancer or Sun sign, but maybe you're a Gemini rising. And that means that when you go to a job interview or you go to a party, that you are a social butterfly and you're bouncing around the rooms talking to people, which is not a Cancer trait. Cancers are very just like keep to themselves, more quiet. So you would be a Cancer that's more social. I have my rising sign in Pisces. So that's where I get my more, again, reserved. I'm more sensitive. I have a little bit more of a pessimistic outlook on things sometimes, and it has to do with having my Pisces rising sign. So, astrology can see the near future. Have you had or believe in psychics or tarot cards? So I don't really... Psychics will even tell you, like, there's no such thing as somebody that's like a fortune teller that's going to be able to predict your future. It's all about feelings and energy. That's what psychics are about. It's not because they can see the future. People are spoken to differently. Some people can see things, some people can hear things, some people can feel things. I personally am the type of person that can feel things. I can be in a room with a million people that I don't even know, and I will sense something about somebody and it'll be true. It's the weirdest thing and I can't really explain it, but it's just a feeling that I get. But I would never say that I could like predict someone's future. People who do read cards and stuff like that, it is all interpretation. It's all very subjective, and I've seen many psychics in my time, and I have two that I go to on a regular basis before I make any decisions. If I'm ever in a rut, I just reach out to them. I have cards pulled for me, and essentially it's just a way of like calming. It's just a way of confirming or denying anything that I need to hear. And like I said, it's very subjective, so I don't really think that there is such thing as like fortune telling, but it has to do with energy and what people feel. And sometimes you just resonate with it, and other times you're like, oh, I'm not really sure where that came from. They can tell you what they feel, and it could be accurate. For instance, I was told that I was going to have a boy and a girl, and that they were going to both be hard to conceive and blah, 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 and that was true. So I don't know. But yeah, if you haven't seen one, you definitely should. Tarot cards are cool too. Anybody can really learn how to do it. You just have to channel it and be willing to willing to learn and have an open mind with it. Are you doomed if you and your significant other astro signs are not compatible? Gemini and Virgo. No, absolutely not. My sign with my husband's sign are completely opposite. Like even our relationship report says like, don't do it. But no, because like I said, it's not about your sun signs. It's about all of your signs. You'd want to check what sign your Venus is in, as well as your moon sign, and compare that with his, because Venus is the planet of like love and how you love and how you need to be loved. And the moon is your emotions. So those are the two things that would basically make somebody compatible. So I would look into that. The sun signs, like I said, are very generic. They're just this much out of like this much that when talking about astrology, it's like you have a flashlight on all of the planets and all of the placings, but we only focus on the sun. We really need to like stand back a little bit and let the light shine on all the planets and take that information, because you really cannot compare just your sun signs. Get your report and get his report, and then put it together, and it'll tell you more in detail of like your compatibility. But there are people like my husband and I that don't have compatible sun signs, but our other signs are very compatible, and that's how it works. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap it up right there. This is all a lot of information, so I'm sorry if it's overwhelming for you. It is hard for me to explain it, but I would definitely like to do more videos like this. So if this is something you're interested in, please make sure you let me know by liking the video, and leave any suggestions that you might have in terms of videos that you wanna see in the comment section below. And if you want a birth chart ran, message me and I will get it sent over to you within the next 24 hours, because like I said, I have the software for it. So, and I can go over it with you too if that's something you need help with. But until next time.